Today we will discuss what is Service Cloud. So Service Cloud is one of the first product of the Salesforce CRM system, and it's very important and it's very big for this ecosystem. So why in general every service is so important? It's because if any client was able to develop, imagine uh, very good business, they trying to sell very good product, and if they do not provide any kind of good support, they will lose client loyalty to them. So first of all, what is great service? First of all, it's great if it's could work in this time period. So imagine in any period of the day you could get support. It could be available through any device, from any place. Einstein Analytics here, for example, to get something faster and in more advanced way. Knowledge Base is here to address most common questions. Self-service, if we just looking for frequently asked question, some kind of metrics that allowing us to understand what is our performance of our agents. So all of this kind of good support allowing us to grow clients loyalty to our company. So in the Salesforce, in their own product Service Cloud, we have possibility or two landscapes where we could actually play with different kind of Service Cloud settings. It's service setup menu and support settings. So for example, from the service setup, we could set up all basic functionality which is related to service. So for example, knowledge base, email to case, omni-channel, like all of kind of basic statistics and many others. So for example, in the support settings, what we could do is we could specify settings related to the case. So for example, notify case owner if new case created, notifies case owner if owner changed it, notify about new case comment, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the basic flow which every support process have. So for example, we have clients that would like to get support. So there are in Salesforce, we have a lot of channels with which clients could communicate with agents. So for example, it's phone, email, social media, text messages, mobile apps, community, chats, phone calls, ended services. So all of these kind of channels are available, and clients should be able to communicate with their agent with that kind of channels. So it's very important if our Service Cloud allowing us to do that. So once clients communicate with us through one of these channels, what should be done? It's we are trying to create a case. So system first of all should identify this as a problem or is a question and should address it. So in Salesforce, for us to be able to address our cases, we have kind of automations that allowing us to understand to what kind of person or queues this special case should go. So it could be assignment rules or it could be omni-channel. So we will discuss about it a little bit later. Also on this phase, what do we have else? We have entitlement management. We will talk about it also a little bit later, and auto response rule. So on this first initial stage, what is important, it's auto response rule. So for example, client decided to communicate with us through email, and he just said, hey, I have a problem, could you please help me? So if at least some auto response rule will send any kind of notification to that client that will let him know that we just got your case, we will assign some agent soon to your case and we will be able to help. So that's a kind of confirmation for the customer that he was able to like at least let agent know that he have some problem. And it's very important because sometimes if, for example, some service system is down and customer trying to send any kind of messages and nothing happened in real time, it's very bad. So about other automation rules we will discuss a little bit later. So let's imagine that case was created in the Salesforce in our case. So what after that should be done? So as we know, some person should take it to be able to resolve and check all necessary details related to this particular case or questions. So in Salesforce we have items with name assignment rules. So assignment rule is a kind of rules that allowing us to understand based on the case information to which particular queue of the agent it should go. So for example, if it's a high priority case, if it's related to some specific product, or if it requires some specific skills, based on the assignment rule and based on the case information, we could assign the specific case to the specific queue or agent. In Salesforce, everything what should be done is we go into the assignment rules from the service setup, defining only one active assignment rule, because if you will try to create another one and you will activate it, Salesforce will allow you to activate only one assignment rule. So, and under this assignment rule, don't worry, you will be able to create a lot of different rule entries where you will be able to specify that, okay, for example, if case priority is high and product is, for example, mobile, then assign it to this queue. If case priority is medium and it's related to, for example, some service related questions, then assign it to, for example, specific agent or to another specific queue. All these kind of items could be set up here. And please also note that via assignment rules, what's happening, it's case owner becoming replace it. I mean, ownership becoming changed with assignment rules. But at this moment, we have a checkbox on the assignment rules that allowing us to control ownership of the cases. Should it be reassigned to the team that will be assigned to that case or not? So once agent or queue will get the case via assignment rules, what will happen, they will be able to work with it in the agent work area. So we will come to the agent work area a little bit later. Let's check also about some another way how we could automate case routing, because with assignment rules only what we could do, it's based on some certain criteria. Everything what we do is we just send all of the cases with the same, like priority and like say based on some specific case fields to the some queue. So for example, if all priority cases should go to one queue, so this queue will get all of cases related to this priority. But if you would like to get a more advanced system of the case routing that will identify, like in the queue, what kind of agents are actually not so let's say busy, or what kind of agents have a lot of easy cases, and where, for example, some agent have one very big and complex case, then it will help you to assign it to correct persons. So in that case, you will not need anymore get cases from the queue manually. You will be able to address all of these items and assignments via omni-channel. So omni-channel settings in Salesforce have two versions. One of them is skill-based and another one is regular. So for example, if we're using regular case routing, so what especially should we do? First of all, we need to specify service channels that will allowing us to let our system know that, for example, at this moment we would like to perform omni-channel routing of the cases, routing of the specific custom object or standard object. In our case, it's, for example, will be case. So after that, what should be done is we need to specify routing configurations. So routing configuration allowing us to define what kind of strategy we should use to assign our cases to agent in our queue. So for example, we have least active and most available. So if you are interested in what is exactly, you will be able to pause this video and check what is inside of those sections. Here we have examples, explanation, and all necessary information. And just for your information, we have plus additional possible routing. It's external routing, so we could specify our own rules. So once it's done and we decided to which agents from our queue based on what strategy cases will be assigned, what we need to do is we need to let the system know when our agents will be available or when they will be busy. So how it could be done. In Salesforce, we have items with name present status. So when we creating it, we could, for example, name it wherever we want. Like, for example, I am ready to get cases, or for example, I am ready to get leads. So different kind of present statuses you could create. But anyway, you will need to assign them with one of the following values. Is it means that you are active, or is it means that you are busy and you could not at this moment take any cases or other object records. So once you created these present statuses, you need to specify them and allow them on the profile level, because without that it will be not visible, and Salesforce allowing us to do that on the profile level. So we are going to the profile, adding those present statuses, and after that they will be automatically available to those users that represent as agents in our queue. So as you can see, with this specific way, when we will configure this omni-channel with regular way, we will be able to also address our cases, but with more intelligent way. So it will be directly addressed to the agents. And it's really helpful, because if with assignments rule we just get case in the queue, so here system allowing us to do everything to get cases addressed with a specific way to the agents that at this moment have more resources than other, which is really useful, and we don't need to think how to address cases ourselves. So also here we have a little bit another way how we could configure omni-channel. It's skill-based configuration. In this case, we also will need to create omni configuration. We will need to create service resources for the agents and connect them with the specific users. After that, we will need to specify specific skills that is required for our organization. So let's imagine our organization working with product 1 and product 2, and it support like 3 or 5 different languages. So for each of these items, we will need to create a separate skill and assign them to the different service resources. So for example, one agent could work only on English and could have knowledges into products. Another one could have knowledge in only one product, but for example speaking in German, and so on and so forth. So based on this, our configuration will allow us to find necessary agent based on the skills and assign the case to him. So also please note that here we also have present statuses, so it's the same that we just discussed for the regular use case. But in addition to that, what we need to develop is we need to specify any kind of flow or process builder or even Apex that will allow us to understand based on the incoming case what kind of skills required to that. So for example, if the subject of your case will contain any kind of information like, hey, I have a problem with my product 1, who could help me with restoring or like repairing of that item. So if some other person has a skill that will work for this product, it will be used. So there are two this kind of possible omni-channel routing. So once a case is assigned to the necessary queue or agent, so we also come into the agent work area. So after that, agent starting to work. But let's come back a little bit and check in a little bit more details case automation. So what else could happen with the cases during this way once they go in through the from the client to the agent, and what it could be here once it's already on the agent. So in case that our case could be in stock, or it should be escalated, or it should have any kind of like additional actions, Salesforce allowed us to have the following actions. First of all, it's escalation rule. So let's imagine you have very important case for very important client, and it should be resolved with your service level agreement in the like half of hour, but for some reason this case is already opened and no one responded to it during 1 hour. So of course, what should be done is some escalation rules should run, and what they need to do is they need to let some person know that like very specific case for this primary customer, it's not yet addressed. Maybe this case should be reassigned to the specific person. Maybe this specific person or manager should just be notified, but something should be done, because if we will not address it, we will lose potentially our customers. So second point that we already mentioned, and if you will want to learn more a little bit about escalation rule, you will be able to pause that video and read this short notice here. So as we already mentioned, here we also have after response rules. What after response rules allowing us to do is notify customers that we got their message, we got their case, and we are working on that. It's very important if you would like to get any kind of notification, and customer should not worry about if his message is in the right direction, was sent or not. So for assignment rule we already discussed, and for entitlements, let's discuss a little bit about entitlements. So in case that we are preparing our service system for support of some our business, for support of our project, or so on and so forth, we need to provide any kind of agreement where we will be able to specify what kind of support process we would like to provide based on the product, or based on our company agreement with our clients, and so on and so forth. To be able to do that in the Salesforce, to set up support process, we have entitlement management. So what is entitlement? It's settings that allowing us to set up what kind of milestones and support process items we need to consider each time when case is created and come into our organization. So for example, when we just created entitlement, enable it in the Salesforce, what we will see is that some additional new objects starting to be visible. For example, one of these objects is milestone. Milestone is those specific list of items that we would like to consider each time when case is coming up. So for example, usually milestones something like first response. So for example, we would like to set that first response from the agents once customer created a case should be in near half of hour. So what is the case resolution time? So if case with priority height, it should be resolved in 1 hour. If case with priority medium, it should be resolved in 1 day, and so on and so forth. Also here we could create additional milestones like waiting on customer, waiting on internal team, and so on and so forth. Here you could do wherever you want. But for every of these items, for every of these milestones, what you will need to specify its time that this rule should work. So, and after that, you will be able to add some visual component near with your case that will help your agent to understand, like at what kind of stage they are, do they have any kind of overdue, and so on and so forth. So after that stage, when you just specified what kind of milestones you would like to follow, what you could do is you could allow to run any kind of workflow actions or time triggers based on the different kind of stages of those milestones. So for example, if milestone is in success stage or in onboarding stage, so for example, if it will be in 5 minutes or overdue it in 5 minutes, or if it's in violation status. So what, for example, you could do is you could send an email, you could send unbound message, so any kind of standard workflow actions that are usually available for you to do, you could do it here. Okay, and as a final step that you will need to do, it's when you just define it your entitlement process, when you specified all necessary milestones, specified your actions that you would like to do, you will need to specify final step is you will need to create an entitlement record. So for this entitlement record, you will need to specify what kind of business hour supply, for what entitlement, and once this record will be inserted, your support process is on the place. So we just discussed a little bit about some case automation. Now let's jump to something called agent work area. So what kind of tools have agents, or what kind of additional features do we have in Service Cloud? Why it's so powerful and important? Why Salesforce announce it as a world #1 service system. So here is a list of different kind of features and functionalities that is available in Service Cloud, and let's just quickly discover each one of them. So first of all, once agent get a cases, they need to have some kind of, let's say, landscape or view where they will be able to work with those cases. So in Salesforce, we have the app with name Service Console. So it's looking like that. So here you have in the left side a list of open cases. You could, for example, open any kind of other list view that you want to see. Here you could quickly check any cases that you have and their statuses. So for example, escalated case, still in status new, you could quickly pick up it and do whatever operation you want. Also here you have some quick access to the case details, like what is the case number, who is the case owner, priority, status, subject, contact information, so who created it, what is the mail, what is the phone number, also additional case by the same customer and their statuses. So all here handy. Also in the middle of the screen, what do we have? We have possibility to communicate with our customer, like post any kind of message, email that customer, see detail of our case, of what we would like to see. Here are our milestones component already here on the page. If you will not see it, you could go to edit page and add this component by drag and dropping. Also, you have here knowledge article. So for example, if we have some kind of guidance to electrical wiring, so here if you will create a list of knowledge with necessary folders, we will be able to see it here. So it's a kind of console where agents mostly spend their time. Also here they have additional tools that we will discuss soon. So next item is omni-channel. As we already discussed, it's a kind of tool that allowing us to address our cases in smart way. So, but else, as we already discussed, we have here present statuses, and once they set up, what we will see, it's once we added this omni-channel component here. If you don't know how to do it, you need to just go to the app manager, find service console, and click on edit and specify necessary items. So here we will be able to set up for ourselves as an agent in what kind of status we are at this moment. So for example, if I am available, I'm just choosing this status, and once new case will be assigned to me via omni-channel, it will be available here and I will be able to accept it. Once I'm on break, I could set up it here and cases will not bother me. So let's moving forward. So quick text. So in Salesforce, sometimes it happens that agents, when they're working with the cases, have a lot of common use cases. You know, like the same message they need to send to some person that, for example, hey, we are already on your case, we will contact you soon, or so on and so forth. So in Salesforce, in the Service Console, what you could do is you could create your own templates that will allow you to quickly put necessary text in necessary places. So for example, here you have email, and you always like put in the same message for different kind of situation. So for example, you could say you would like to say that you are sorry for some situation. So for the following case, all of these items you could do once you specify it, you know, like this quick action, quick text, you could create it here, or if you want to set up it as a template, as you could see here, it's have integrated fields, so it automatically will pull information from the case, like case details or so on and so forth. So all this allowing us to quickly not just paste copy this text from somewhere and paste it. We could just create a necessary list of placeholder text, put it into the necessary email, and just send it to the necessary place. Also, it's not just related to this email functionality, but we could put it into any place where it's necessary to have this quick text component. It's also very often used, for example, if you would like to just greeting with customer, or for example, when we're chatting with him and would like to provide some quick information, it's also very useful. Another item which is available in Service Console is macros. So for example, if you have situations that your customer not replying to you when you try to call him or contact via email, and what you would like to do is you would like to do some follow-up action. So for example, send some email with information like, hey man, please, when you will be available, please contact me, and you would like to create a task to follow up with that person in, for example, 3 days, and you would like to log additional let's say object records. So those kind of items you could do with macros. So macros also additional item which is available here in utility once you will add it, and what it's allow you to do based on the items that you just created, you could do it right from there. You could, for example, close case, escalate case, do whatever items you need. So for example, when you just run it, so as you could see, oh, in my case here something not on the layout. Let's just try another one. So what it will do based on the list of provided instructions, it will try to run them and perform necessary actions. So for example, here I just, what I did, I selected some subject for email and send an email, and all it was done via just one single click. So all of this was automated. When you just create in macros, you could click here, create some macro name, test macro, some description if it will be necessary, and what you will be able to see after that, you will be able to see macro builder. It's a kind of tool, macro editor, that allowing us to specify what kind of actions should be performed with this macro when you run it. So who will want to play with it? So follow those instructions, and once it will be loaded, this canvas, you will be able to specify what buttons are clickable, add instructions to them, and play with it. So for entitlements, we already discussed that it's items that allowing us to specify what kind of support process based on our service level agreement we need to follow, allowing us to specify milestones, see them on the cases, understand what is overdue or not, and perform necessary workflow actions or time trigger actions based on what should be done based on your system organization rules. So next very important item is knowledge base. It's, as I mentioned, usually when we are on some case and we are, for example, have some subject and we already have in the knowledge some article which should address this subject, it will automatically showing up here, and you will be able to quickly, like check what is a resolution, copy this resolution and send back to the customer. So by this way, we will not need to each time investigate some problem. If you already have some common library with necessary questions, answers, you could just copy and paste it from here. Also for the knowledge base, what you could do is you could create different kind of categories. So for example, frequently asked questions, manuals, instructions, and so on and so forth, and different kind of those items you could share for the specific agent in the specific regions with the specific languages. Also, when you created articles for the knowledge base, usually they are created as a drafts, and once you just validated that everything is okay, you could publish them. Also, if it's necessary, what you could do is you could specify some approval process, and what this approval process will do, it will validate, okay, this draft, if it's related to some specific area, for example, client or business information, and some agent prepare it, it should go to the approval to some specific manager checking it, and if there are no any kind of sensitive information, then it share it, for example, with a group of agents to share. But if not, he could reject it, ask to redo, and so on and so forth. And one more important note here is that each time when you created a new version of the knowledge article, you need to publish it. Without the publishing, it will be a draft and it will be not yet available as information in the sidebar. So next, a very useful util, what you have is live agent, web chat. So what is it? For example, usually you was able to see when you go into some sites, it's in the right bottom corner, you was able to see this button, like if you would like to chat with us, please click on this button. When you clicking on this button, it's depend on if any agent is available or not. You will be able to see just pre-chat form that will say you, hey, please leave here your first name, last name, email, and subject of your question, and we'll contact you soon once we are available. Or you will be able to see the actual chat once you will fill up your first name and last name. So this is actually chat that we have in the Salesforce. So to set up it, we need to go to the Salesforce again service setup, and from there you could set up all necessary items related to Service Console and Service Cloud. So you will be able to set up what kind of pre-chat form to use, what kind of UI customization you would like to see. Like, for example, what should be color of the text, what should be color of this button, should it work in offline support. So please note, if you select an offline support, it should have user guest access. You will need to enable it. Should there be any kind of survey after that, and how it should work. So please note that everything what we have in Salesforce for agent have name chat. Everything what we are setting for the customer side, it's embedded service. And this all customization, pre-chat, settings, offline support, usually you could find in Salesforce in the embedded services menu. So where else? To support our customers, what we could do is they have, like common questions, frequently asked questions. What we could do is we could just set up community, the self-service community, where our customers will be able just put any kind of questions that they have, get necessary information from the articles, just resolve their problems themselves. And what it will do, it will really not increase, but it's allow our agents to take some break, because like there are a lot of customers in the internet that would like to get some problems resolved with themselves, and self-service community will really help us with that. If you would like to, for example, or you have situation when you don't have a lot of agent and you would like to provide such kind of instrument. Also call center. So if for any reason you integrated call center and you need to have this functionality, so great features that you have here, it's a pause, like call when it's necessary. So for example, your person will a little bit wait for you. You could transfer this call to the necessary person. You could record it, and all this will happen right from here. You will be able to see additional option here, and you will be able to see at the same time when you just calling the client what kind of the same cases he had in the past, what kind of case details at this moment you have for this specific case, or you even will be able to create a case right on the fly when it will be necessary. Utilities, it's this panel here where you could add necessary items that you would like to see in your application. So for example, if you would like to customize it, you could go to setup, find app manager, find our console, app manager. Let me just quickly show it. Click edit new with our console. So for example, here our console, click edit. Here we have these utility items. They are available only for utility. As you will go to there, you will be able to set up what kind of additional utility items you would like to see. Should it be Einstein Analytics dashboard, Einstein next best action? Should it be flow, some history, list view, macros, omni-channel? Should it be recent items, any kind of visual force or some custom components? So all of these kind of items you will be able to set up from there. And even once you will add your possibility to call, you will be able to do so right from here. So all of these items are available in the utility, as well as history for our case, to be able to understand what cases were touched just not so far. Keyboard shortcuts, it's one more feature that allowing us for people who really likes to use shortcuts to specify their own shortcuts or check what kind of system shortcuts they have. So for example, what opening omni-channel, or what, for example, allowing to send email, and so on and so forth. Also here we have options to send to mass update our records. So for example, with mass action, what we could do is we could modify up to 100 records, and it's not a problem. Also, if it's necessary, in Salesforce you have case teams. It's, for example, when you have different kind of cases, and for each specific for different categories of cases, you decided that you should potentially have different kind of team structures that should work on this case. And for these specific roles that you will have under this team, they should have different kind of access to the case. So for example, you decided to have the following case structure, like IT specialist, some manager, and support manager. So IT specialist should have some, for example, edit access and read access. Just manager should have just read access. So all these kind of items you could specify here. Salesforce Survey, as we already discussed, it's a possibility for us to specify a list of questions that our person should provide answers, for example, right after the chat with agent. So for example, do you like our support, what you would like to adjust, and so on and so forth. So another very big portion of advantages of the Service Cloud is possibility to use Einstein analytics features. So for example, you could set up a bot, put it on your community, and for example, each time when customers will go and will try to ask you, like, hey, what should I do if, for example, I forgot my password? So you will be able to train your bot, and based on some specific criteria, it will be able to provide your necessary answers, and you will not need to, for example, have agents online. It's, for example, sometimes works when some businesses not yet so big that, for example, they could not really allow themselves to have a big number of agents. They just have bot, they have self-service community, and somehow the system already working, and later, for example, if it's necessary for the specific use cases or the specific category of customers, they provide this possibility to speak with agents. So here, what else we have? It's case classifications, case field value prediction, next best actions. So all of these items that we were able to see in the utility setup, we will be able to apply. So also, just for the usability, sometimes it's necessary for us to see cases not in just regular, like list view as we could see them here, just a list view. Sometimes it's necessary for us when we go into cases to be able to see them in the Kanban view or a split view. So we could do so when we will specify what kind of rows should be allowed here. So should it be based on the categories? Should it be based on the open, new, work in progress, and close stages? So you will be able to specify it here and move from one category to another when it will be necessary. So by this way, you are adding some visualization for your service console. So live video chats. Sometimes it's necessary for you to have some kind of additional applications that will allow you to communicate with your customer based on your product. So for example, sometimes you need to perform some screen share, or you need to perform some on-screen guidance, or you should have some peer-to-peer connection with your client. So for example, like site calls product do. So for all this functionality, you could use Salesforce Service Cloud, you could install additional products. So all of these items could help you to support your clients in more, let's say, efficient and more good way, but it's based on your business needs. And last items that we would like to discover here, it's a possibility to schedule an appointment with agents. So for example, when you have service resources, you could specify what kind of queries you have, what kind of time slots available, and based on the list of available agents and their time slots, you will be able to allow customer to set up appointments. So for example, once in the past we did it with VCL package. So and based on the specified criteria, based on the pool of the agent, based on the case area, and so on and so forth, we specified possibility to the customer to select necessary time slots, book an appointment in the calendar, work with ICS was also implemented. So all of these kind of items could be also addressed in Salesforce. At this moment, what I would like to mention in addition, it's that in Salesforce, if you have just, for example, some external sites from where you would like to generate your leads, or from where you generate your cases, you have possibility to do so. Visit two more options that available from the service setup. It's email to case and web to case. So for example, when you specify in web to case, it's what in Salesforce you just need to do is go to web to case settings in our service setup, enable it, and after that click generate button. So once generate buttons selected with necessary fields already applied, you will be able to see a piece of the HTML code with JS that you will need to enter insert into the necessary website. Also, during the creation of this web form, you will need to specify URL from where it should be allowed. So for example, if you will want to use it from the Salesforce, it should be something like wildcard.visualforce.com or wildcard.force.com, and only after that it will be available on your Visualforce pages. So this form could be integrated into any kind of even external your website. You could style it wherever you want, but please note, once you update this form in the Salesforce with any kind of additional field, you will need to just grab again this code from Salesforce, put to the external site, and what it will do once you will fill up all necessary fields in this form on the external site with servlet, it will use post form and send it to Salesforce. And what else you will be able to specify? It's thank you page. So it's everything what needs to be done for this step. For the email to case, it's for example when you would like have some kind of email address, when anyone will send email to this email address, it should create a case in Salesforce. You have possibility to do so, and in Salesforce there are two options. One is to use on demand option and possibility to use it based on the customer software, and it's require additional effort, like specify and install some specific email agent that is usually not necessary. All you need to do is just go to Salesforce, go to service setup, specify the email that you would like to use as a customer facing email for support, confirm through Salesforce that this is your email via a confirm email that will go to your email box, and after that it will be available in Salesforce, and you will get generated very long email. So you have two options: provide to the customer this very long email, and every case that will go to this email will be automatically addressed and come to your Salesforce org. Or what you could do is, when you just verify this your customer facing email, what you could do in your email box, it's specify routing in just email, that every email that come into this box, please resend it to the Salesforce email address, and after that it will be set. So based on it, we just discovered entire basic functionality which is related to Service Cloud, starting from the basic case routing, how it's coming from the client with which channels to the agent based on the assignment rule or based on the omni-channel, what kind of differences of configuration for omni-channel we have, how it's different from assignment rules, what is the agent work area, what kind of additional functionality we have in Salesforce, what are two main landscape area where we set up everything related to Service Cloud, what is entitlement, escalation rule, and so on and so forth, and how to set up additional channels in Salesforce. Hope that video was useful for you. Thanks for the attention, and if it was really useful for you, please subscribe on the channel, put some likes. Thank you, and bye bye.